Eminem burst onto the music scene with the Slim Shady LP in 1999, and he's remained an A-list rapper ever since. But besides all his personas, what is really known about the man himself and his journey in life? This is the untold truth of Eminem. Eminem's birth name is Marshall Mathers III, after his father, Marshall Mathers Jr. His dad and mom, Debbie Mathers Briggs, married when she was 15 years old, and the couple welcomed their first child and future rapper nearly 3 years later. According to Salon, Eminem's mom nearly died while giving birth to her son after a ridiculously long labor. Eminem was born in St. Joseph, Missouri, but the family relocated to North Dakota. His parents were also musicians, but things weren't working out well between the two of them. His father's behavior was so erratic that Mathers Briggs returned to Missouri with her son when he was 2 years old. Salon described the scene as the two leaving in a hurry, leaving their clothes and car behind. Reportedly, young Eminem tried to stay in touch with his dad by writing him letters, but his mom admitted that every letter the boy wrote bounced back unreceived, per Rolling Stone. Eventually, Eminem and his mom moved to Detroit. As reported by Salon, as a young man, Eminem for a time was, quote, the only white teen in a black neighborhood of otherwise white and middle-class St. Clair Shores. And sadly, Eminem was the victim of brutal bullying when he was in elementary school. Allegedly, a classmate named D'Angelo Bailey assaulted Eminem multiple times, once beating him up so badly that it left him in a coma at the age of 9. As a result, Eminem's mother filed a lawsuit against the school. According to the lawsuit, Bailey beat her boy so badly that he suffered headaches, post-concussion syndrome, intermittent loss of vision and hearing, nightmares, nausea, and a tendency toward antisocial behavior. Sadly, the case was ultimately dropped. In the song Brain Damage on his debut album, The Slim Shady LP, Eminem talks about his former bully. While many of the artist's songs are fictional stories, Eminem specifically calls out D'Angelo Bailey in the lyrics. The first time young Marshall Mathers III heard hip-hop was thanks to his uncle Ronnie. The two listened to the movie soundtrack for Breakin', a 1984 film about breakdancing. This started the young boy's infatuation, and Eminem was officially hooked on rap. He told Rolling Stone, "As soon as my mom would leave to go play bingo, I would blast the stereo." In an interview for Hotboxin' with Mike Tyson, he said, "I just loved hip-hop growing up as a kid. It spoke to me more than any other music I had ever heard before." Eminem remembered that in addition to listening to Ice-T, some of his early favorites were the Fat Boys, Run DMC, and the Beastie Boys. But his love of another artist sparked the idea to begin creating his own lyrics, with him saying, "LL Cool J was the one who made me first start writing rhymes, and I was like 12, 13 maybe, and it sucked. I wasn't good." Discouraged, the teenager gave up writing raps. But when he was around 15 years old, Eminem picked up writing again and fortunately stuck with it. Sadly, Eminem's uncle Ronnie took his own life before seeing the rapper's career play out. Eminem spoke to Rolling Stone about the impact this had on him, saying, "I didn't talk for days." As Eminem started to write more and more raps, he began to put his battle skills to the test, first with kids at school.
I used to rap really fast, and I don't think I was really saying much, but I was just rapping really fast, But because I was rapping fast, I used to win every battle.
Eminem's friend Proof felt it was time to take his lyrical skills further. While speaking with Mike Tyson, Eminem said that Proof had been making connections in the hip-hop community, while he himself was working in, quote, factories and stuff like that. Proof invited his friend to a place called the Hip Hop Shop and promised a crowd of about 10 people to watch him try rapping. Eminem remembered his first performance, saying, "I got some people jumping around." The Hip Hop Shop then started having regular rap battles, and Eminem won the first competition held at the venue. This started the rapper's impressive hustle in the underground rap scene. In his early 20s, Eminem recalled performing at least 3 times a week at different venues. After success throughout Detroit, Eminem started to compete outside the city he grew up in, making it to the finals in the 1997 Scribble Jam held in Cincinnati, Ohio. Though he lost, Eminem met a woman named Wendy Day, who asked him to compete in the Los Angeles Rap Olympics. Once again, Eminem made it all the way to the final battle, and once again, he lost. Eminem returned home to Detroit devastated from losing his second big rap battle. To make matters worse, he didn't even have a home to return to. The day before flying out to Los Angeles for the Rap Olympics, Eminem found out he had been evicted. Luckily, soon after returning from California, the rapper received the call that would change his life. On Hotboxin' with Mike Tyson, Eminem explained that immediately after losing the Rap Olympics, he was approached by Dean Geislinger, who worked with Los Angeles record executive Jimmy Iovine. Geislinger asked Eminem for his CD, then passed it along to Iovine, who in turn sent the demo to rapper and producer Dr. Dre. As a collaborator and mentor, Dr. Dre invited Eminem over to his home studio to start working on music together. Dr. Dre played Eminem a beat he was working on, and the new rapper immediately dreamed up a signature hook. In an interview on The Defiant Ones, Dr. Dre recalled, "Maybe 2 or 3 seconds went by and he just went, 'Hi, my name is.' This, of course, referencing Eminem's future lead single, My Name Is. In an interview he did prior to the release of the Slim Shady LP, Eminem described a similar take on his first studio session, and remembered, quote, "The beat started talking to me."
I just wanted to make sure that every beat that he played for me, I had a rhyme ready to go.
In the early days in Eminem's career, he rapped about substance abuse. His debut album, the Slim Shady LP, is filled with lyrics about hallucinogens, alcohol, and sleeping pills. And while it's difficult to determine what's based on reality versus fantasy in the rapper's lyrics, Eminem later admitted to drug use in his personal life. He told the New York Times, "I used to get pills wherever I could. I was just taking anything that anybody was giving to me." The abuse continued, and as Eminem explained in another interview with the New York Times, "I was the worst kind of addict, a functioning addict. I was so deep into my addiction at one point that I couldn't picture myself being able to do anything without some kind of drug." In 2007, Eminem reached rock bottom with his substance abuse and overdosed on methadone. Reportedly, 1 month after the overdose, Eminem started taking pills once again. But to his credit, Eminem checked himself into a hospital for rehab. As part of his journey towards recovery, Eminem revisited concert videos and interviews during the peak of his drug use, explaining, "I want to see what I looked like when I was on drugs, so I never go back to it." According to Eminem, staying sober to care for his children was also the main reason for self-improvement. Eminem paved the way for many white rappers who came after him, but he publicly feuded with rapper and punk musician Machine Gun Kelly. As detailed by Vulture, the issue started partly from a 2012 tweet by MGK. He referred to Eminem's daughter Haley as, quote, "hot as f*** when she was only 16 years old. On Eminem's song Not Alike from his album Kamikaze, he mentions MGK by name and the incident with Haley. To counter, MGK wrote a song called Rap Devil. In the song, MGK said that Eminem, quote, "tried to sabotage his career early on." MGK claimed that Eminem, his favorite rapper, banned him from Shade 45, Eminem's hip-hop channel on Sirius XM radio. In fact, Eminem later clarified in an interview with Sway that while the comments about his daughter annoyed him, it was this alleged sabotage that prompted him to write the Not Alike verse. Eminem denied the claim and specifically said that he didn't care enough about MGK's music to allegedly, quote, "hinder his career."
I think like if there's a reason for me to burn a bridge, then I obviously don't want to speak to you ever in my life.
MGK said in a tweet that he was standing up for himself against Eminem to, quote, "defend myself from someone I called an idol." Eminem then released the song Kill Shot, with artwork from the single featuring MGK's cartoon face. According to Billboard, the video for the single was viewed 38.1 million times in its first 24 hours, making it the biggest hip-hop debut and third biggest overall debut in YouTube history. One of Eminem's earliest projects as a musician was as a member of the group New Jacks. According to Genius, the rapper appeared on the album as MC-double-M, likely referencing his own initials. Around 1990, the young man began to record with one of his friends, Jay Fields. According to Fields, the white rapper began to call himself Eminem via Salon. Then, this two-letter stage name elongated into Eminem. While his artist name was Eminem, the rapper also referred to himself as Slim Shady. Bizarre, one of Eminem's friends and fellow groupmate in the band D12, explained in an interview with Vlad TV the origin of Slim Shady. The premise of the group was for each member to have an alter ego. After Eminem's first recording project, Infinite, he reportedly received criticism of being too soft on the album. As a result, Eminem chose the name Slim Shady to be his alter ego. Talking with Rolling Stone about Infinite, Eminem said, "After that record, every rhyme I wrote got angrier and angrier." According to the rapper, the name Slim Shady just came to him while using the toilet. He said, "Boom, the name hit me, and right away I thought of all these words to rhyme with it." In 2000, Eminem had just released his second album, the Marshall Mathers LP. After its first week in stores, the album sold over 1.76 million units, which MTV reported made it one of the biggest one-week sales in SoundScan history for a solo artist. On the album was an extended oral sex skit aimed at the musical group Insane Clown Posse, who had previously insulted Eminem in one of their songs. This bad blood between the two artists led to an altercation at an automotive store in Royal Oak, Michigan. Eminem reportedly brandished a handgun after arguing with Douglas Dale, an employee of Insane Clown Posse's record label. That same day, Eminem was involved in another incident at a nightclub, which earned him felony charges of assault with a deadly weapon and carrying a concealed weapon without a license. Eminem pleaded guilty to the weapons charges from the two incidents and received probation. When looking back at his behavior at the time, Eminem told the New York Times that stardom had affected his decisions, saying, "Fame hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just being pulled in every direction, doing everything under the sun, 2 shows a day, touring constantly, non-stop radio interviews, and I just got caught up in the drinking and the drugs and fighting and just wilding out and doing dumb things I shouldn't have been doing." For the 2017 BET Hip Hop Awards, Eminem recorded a freestyle video for the show. In the clip called The Storm, Eminem emotionally criticizes then-President Donald Trump. With no beat, only silence, the rapper condemns the politician for racism and other actions. At the 4-minute mark, Eminem says, "Any fan of mine who's a supporter of his, I'm drawing in the sand a line. You're either for or against." As a result of the freestyle, Billboard reported that a number of die-hard fans began to turn on the MC. Eminem addressed those fans on his album Revival with the song Chloroseptic. He claimed that, as a result of his stance, his fanbase was cut in half. Speaking with Billboard, Eminem defended his decision to speak out against Trump. "It's my artistic license to express myself. At the end of the day, if I did lose half my fan base, then so be it, because I feel like I stood up for what was right and I'm on the right side of this." Eminem was later put under the close watch of the government. BuzzFeed reported that the Secret Service visited the rapper for, quote, "exhibiting inappropriate behavior." According to documents obtained for the article, an employee at TMZ had emailed the Secret Service in regard to Eminem's lyrics and his song Framed. According to the employee, the song contained, quote, "a threatening comment towards Ivanka Trump." Eminem's oldest daughter is Haley Mathers, who turned 25 in 2020. Eminem has referenced his little girl in his music ever since his debut album, which featured the song 97 Bonnie and Clyde. In 2002, Eminem talked about what it was like to be a father, telling the New York Times, "My daughter is growing up, and I'm trying to set an example for her." At the time of the interview, Eminem claimed she lived a normal life and was like her dad, quote, "to the 10th power," adding, "She's got such a personality. She runs around the house and she makes up little sayings and little phrases." Eminem continues to brag about his first child as she grows older. In an interview on Hotboxin' with Mike Tyson, he boasted about Haley graduating college with a 3.9 GPA and said, "She's made me proud for sure." In addition to Haley, Eminem has also helped raise a niece. He told Tyson that the young woman, who was 26 at the time of the interview, was, quote, "pretty much like a daughter to me." The rapper also talked about his other daughter, who was 17. He said, "When I think about my accomplishments, that's probably the thing I'm the most proud of, is being able to raise kids." He's also praised his children for their support throughout his career. He told the New York Times, "They've helped me through so many things." The movie 8 Mile featured Eminem in his first acting role, playing Jimmy, and though there are definitely some similarities between him and his character, it's not based on Eminem's real life. Eminem clarified that he spent his childhood in a melting pot of cultures on the, quote, borderline of what separates suburb from city in Detroit. The rapper said, "I had the friends who had racist redneck fathers and stepfathers. I had black friends. It's just American culture." Eminem reportedly wanted to make the story believable while filming, even going as far as to get real rappers in Detroit, no matter the cost. For example, Gerald L. Strike Sanders, who played Lickety Split in the film, was in trouble with the law at the time. Strike told Grantland that Eminem, quote, bailed me out on my attempted murder case. Allegedly, Eminem gave proof money to aid Strike. For the rap battle scenes, the crew modeled the venue after the place Eminem used to rap growing up. But Eminem admitted the situation was different with a bunch of cameras around. The rapper added, "In a real battle tournament back then, I wouldn't know who my opponents were. I'd just stack a few punchlines up and mostly freestyle about the guy in front of me." In the film 8 Mile, the late actor Brittany Murphy played the on-screen love interest for Eminem's character. But outside of shooting, the media speculated that the actor and the rapper were actually involved romantically. In an interview for MTV, Eminem said they became friends, but wouldn't admit to anything more. In her own interview for MTV, Murphy described her side of the story, saying, "Marshall is one of the most funny, honest, professional, hardworking actors I've ever worked with, if not the most." After Murphy died in 2009, Eminem detailed how he felt losing his friend. He told Vibe, "It's crazy because at one point we were very close, and she was a really good person." His public image may be centered on graphic lyrics and controversies, but Eminem has helped others through philanthropic efforts. His most high-profile effort is the Marshall Mathers Foundation. The rapper created the charity organization in 2002 to provide assistance to disadvantaged and at-risk youth primarily in Detroit, Michigan and its surrounding communities. Almost 20 years later, Eminem enlisted his friend, collaborator, and rapper Royce da 5'9" to help with the charitable efforts as a director at the foundation. In addition, both men helped out during the COVID-19 pandemic. Eminem donated meals, which he called Mob Spaghetti, in reference to a line from the song Lose Yourself, to hospitals in Detroit. Also in 2020, Eminem pledged $250,000 to the city of Detroit via the Marshall Mathers Foundation. Even early in his career, Eminem helped other organizations raise funds for charitable causes. In 2005, he worked with the 8 Mile Boulevard Association to help children in the southeastern part of Michigan. According to PR Web, the rapper autographed and personalized bricks that were then auctioned on eBay with a copy of the movie 8 Mile and a certificate of authenticity. In his long career on the charts, Eminem has been one of the most successful artists ever. As of 2021, the Recording Industry Association of America placed Eminem in the top 30 musical acts in terms of certified units with 46.5 million units. This included 2 albums, the Marshall Mathers LP and The Eminem Show, that were Diamond certified, at least 10 times platinum. And in addition to his music, Eminem's acting appearance in 8 Mile and its smash hit Lose Yourself also add to his impressive bank account. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Eminem was worth $230 million as of 2021. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255.